بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ولي الصالحين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, and welcome to another episode of Defense Against Disaster. This is Gabriel Al Romaani. We're here on Peace TV for the first time teaching this course. Inshallah that you're following up with the previous episodes. As we said, this is a course that you need to make sure that you understand completely, fully, comprehensive picture of what is being taught. We are teaching you skills of how to respond to those who are attacking Islam intellectually, trying to remove it, uproot it. And we're going through some of the most common allegations. Some you might know, some you might not know. And to my surprise, a lot of times when we would try to answer some of these allegations, even certain people who are educated would have not known them or did not know them. So to put this material together took a long time. We prepared them. We prepared the material basically usually first as an article, an academic article that you can find if you visit our websites at icraa.org, ikra.org. So most of the things that I'm talking to you, you will find them on that website as in the form of articles with references, with an abstract, with proper organization, purpose, and summary at the end with end results. So I hope that you can visit that website. It's very beneficial. Try to digest the information. There's a lot of it, a lot of articles, and we're going to keep updating, inshallah. And if you ever do any research studies or any kind of academic research or papers in Islam, this might be a good place for you to go and check. Today, we're going to talk about an interesting misconception. I remember this very well because I remember hearing about this while I was young. And it had to do with the Ottoman symbol of the crescent and why that is their symbol. And it became the symbol of Islam. And it became that Muslims worship the moon. Right? Because, well, the Christians have a cross. And even in their wars, for example, when Eastern Europe armies would fight with the Ottomans, they would usually carry their crosses. And, the Knight Templars and others, they wear their cross on their shields and their coat of armor and so on. Coat of arms. And I remember that the Turks, the Ottomans, would have the crescent. So from there, the misconception that, well, if we have the cross and we worship it, they were saying, and they have the moon, so they probably worship it too. And it became that the Muslims, the Ottomans, are pagan. They worship the moon. The moon is just a celestial body. And this is one of the greatest misconceptions. But you see, it became from them worshiping the moon to Allah being the moon god. And it goes on to that they use that. Well, you see that Allah is the god of Qamar. Okay? So they came into Iros, Allat, Uzza, and so on. And many, many arguments around this main argument that crystallized in the end in books even, and pamphlets. Robert Murray and the so-called, moon god, the Islamic invasion, the pamphlets that are available, and they're done, you'll find with nice, which it's not really nice, actually quite ugly, illustrations of so-called missionaries talking to Muslims and making them realize that the moon god and Islam is bad, and in the end it results with these so-called Muslims turning to Christ and embracing the loving Father and so on. And I remember one day finding these books by the dozens near our masjid. On the stairs, someone came and threw them from a car or whatever. Or they put them in your mailboxes. And these are the biggest deception you'll find, the biggest lies and misinformation. And they know that, actually. But see, they want to push it so that you can get confused. But you see, the Quran directly refutes such a claim. Do we as Muslims bow and pray to the moon or the moon god? You see, we have the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. When he went to the people and he wanted to expose their kufr and their shirk and how illogical, irrational it is. So he's with them, he's at night, sees the stars, the planets, the moon, all that, the star, the sun when it rises. He says, this is my Lord, to. Then the sun rises, he says, this is my Lord, this is Akbar, it's bigger. And then it sets and so on. So he says, I do not like what sets. Meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't rise and set. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't sleep and wake up. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't appear and disappear like these celestial bodies. So actually, he didn't even give them dawah. He just made them realize by using their God-given intellect, by observing. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking us to observe, to look around in the horizons in the universe, to look at the alteration of the day and the night. إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب. In the creation of heavens and the earth, alteration of day and night, there are signs for those who think, those who ponder. So, a person who might not ponder, a person who is a very, I would say superficial intellectual capability, they will jump, the moon god, it makes sense. Okay, the crescent, the Muslims, the moon god, okay, I understand, they're pagan. But a person who thinks, they'll say, well, just because they have that sign, and it's only the Ottomans, actually, it's not all the Muslims, so maybe there's something cultural. And then they'll realize, okay. And then they'll think a bit more. Well, is there a moon god? Let's see, what does their book say? That will be the first thing that someone would do. Just check on the internet how many of such silly arguments are there from so-called credible organizations and websites and missionaries and you name it, intellectuals. This person himself, Robert Murray, an author, so-called intellectual, who never bothered to open the Quran to see what the Muslims actually believe about the moon or about God. But you see, this is dishonesty. This is, you would say, on purpose. Either that or these people are really, really lacking sane judgment. So that will be the first thing to do. Go and look. And you see the story of Ibrahim, how he tells people that, no, I'm sorry, this doesn't make sense to me. Not at all. It rises and it sets. It disappears. I don't worship this. I worship Allah. If Allah doesn't guide me, I'll be astray. And of course, he was a monotheist. He was a prophet. And it's very clear from that story that he was worshiping Allah alone, the owner of the sun and the moon, the owner of the sunrise and the sunset, the owner of the heavens and the earth and all the celestial bodies. It's clear. And not just that, Quran says, do not worship the sun and the moon, but worship the one who created them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says many, many times about the stars and the moons and what their purposes are. وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَ السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِهَا. What Allah has done with the stars, He has made it, He has adorned with ornaments the heavens, السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيا, the skies, the sun, the moon. The sun does not overtake the moon, and the moon does not overtake the sun. كُلٌّ فِي فَلَكٍ يَسْبَحُونَ. And everyone moves or swims in their own orbit. So you see, such claims are so silly, but sometimes people get confused. They'll say, look at the mosque. On top of the mosque, there's a crescent. See, they worship it. They try to draw parallels between what they see in churches, because they see on top of the churches a cross. And the Christians worship the cross. Therefore, they'll try to draw parallels. And a lot of times, these misconceptions come from drawing the wrong parallels, from false analogy. So, if anyone, I challenge anyone, you are Muslim, not Muslim, you're doubt, you're whatever, and you believe this, just read through the Quran. Flip through some pages. You pick wherever you want. Okay, open the Quran wherever you want. Just read though at least 2-3 pages from where you fall. And then see if in any of those pages you get any idea that Muslims worship anything other than the one who created everything. The one who created heavens and the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, everything. I challenge you, honestly. Just give it a try. Just see. And for these people who come up with these weird illustrations, they really need to fear God. Whatever religion you are, whatever walk of life you come from, if you lie like that, I mean, this is such a cheap lie and such a fake way of approaching someone. Especially those people who just come and throw them at your door, put them in, different mailboxes. Come and talk. Come and talk. Because we will entertain that talk. Jazakumullah khair. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back after this.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother in Islam, Mamdouh Muhammad. You're watching Peace TV, the solution for humanity.
Iman is the secret of Allah in His creation, that which He places into the hearts of those that He loves. Once it glows, nothing is stronger that can drive a person, and nothing is sweeter that a person can experience. It's a glimpse of paradise that you see with the eyes of your heart. Unlock your Iman with my new series, Imanology, The Fundamentals of Faith.
Enrich your Iman by following the factors that would open the door of eternal blessings for all believers in Imanology, the study of Iman, every Sunday at 5 p.m. and repeat telecast at 9 a.m. India on Peace TV. Peace TV presents over 100 million viewers at one of the largest peace conferences in the world. Addressing a sea of spellbound spectators, over 30 world-renowned orators on Islam, with credentials impeccable.
The truth of
Islam. Deen is your way of life.
It is our duty, our obligation.
By following the Quran and Sunnah,
we will give the message to one and all.
With articulation exquisite.
Read the book of Allah.
Islam is the easy way. It's the simple way.
Remind each other.
The Muslim is not a source of harm for other people.
Collaborate with the people for good.
This is the call of Islam.
With the mission of spreading the truth of Islam.
Do what you can to spread the word of Islam.
Wherever we are,
Live like Muslims.
Use your power.
Allah is saying, why do you need anything else? This Quran is self-sufficient.
The only book on the face of the globe, the Quran.
How a human being should lead his life is given in this instruction manual, the glorious Quran.
For peace to prevail on earth in Peacemakers. Next on Peace TV.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. Before the break, we're talking about Robert Morey and his so-called moon god theory. And we refuted that in a very simple way. The Quran is full of references to the moon and the stars and the sky and the sun and what they're meant for and who created them. And that is God. Very clear. We showed you and talked about the story of Ibrahim, when people were bowing and worshiping these celestial bodies, and Ibrahim told them that he cannot worship something that rises and sets. That's settled. I believe that no one should be able to ever confuse anyone on that. Okay? Let us move now to something more complex, and it'll take a bit more time. And this is something that really affected the Muslim Ummah. It's not recently, but some time ago. Now we're in the 21st century. I believe this incident took place in the 20th century, more than a few decades ago. That is the incident of the so-called satanic verses. And a lot of times, people avoid talking about these, but I believe it's so important. I remember attending a course one time by a teacher, by an imam, and it was something to do with the Quran and refuting some misconceptions and so on. But he clearly said from the beginning that I will not touch upon this topic. And it is a complex topic. And there's been a lot written on it in Arabic and not so much in English, other than sometimes things that are a bit non-academic and they are not comprehensive. So if you go to our website again, you'll find a quite detailed explanation of this from an academic point of view. So first of all, the author, who wrote a book called The Satanic Verses, in which he makes some mention to the Quran, to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. It's a fictional book, but it carries a message. But does this event have any authenticity to it? Is there anything to build upon? And the truth is that there are things to build on, yes. In terms of authenticity, this we're going to address a bit later. But I want you to really open your mind and your soul, because the answer to this is very, very simple, actually. But you see, sometimes people, when they complicate things, they will deviate you from the simplest answer. And as we know in science and in philosophy, if you want to employ here philosophy, Occam's razor says that the simplest answer is the correct answer. In this case, it's so true. And it will be made clear without a shadow of a doubt. Where is this reported? It is reported by Al-Waqidi and At-Tabari, which are, of course, sources that people would know. People who study Islam especially would know. Maybe some of you who might have not studied Islam might have not heard so much about Al-Waqidi, but At-Tabari is quite famous. Okay, Tafsir At-Tabari, and I believe the book is Tariq At-Tabari, the historical compilation of information, which is very, very valuable in Islam for scholars, for people of knowledge, to understand, for those who have the tools to go through it. But you see, they picked a story and they linked it to something in the Quran. And let us look at the text first. And this is At-Tabari, page 108. And I'll read it and we'll dissect it. Pay attention. This is what a famous, notorious website reproduces, how they reproduce the story. According to At-Tabari, when the Messenger of God saw how his tribe turned their backs on him and was grieved to see them shunning the message of Islam, he longed in his soul that something would come to him from God, which would reconcile him with his tribe. With his love for his tribe and his eagerness for their welfare would have delighted him if some of the difficulties which they made for him could have been smoothed out. So far what they're saying, that the Prophet had this feeling in his heart that he really, felt my tribe is not listening to me, they're rejecting the message. I wish Allah would reveal me of some of this burden or send something for me to make it easy. Okay? Then, he says, they say, that with his love for his tribe and his eagerness for their welfare, it would have delighted him if some of the difficulties which they made for him could have been smoothed out. And he debated within himself and fervently desired such an outcome, meaning he's struggling, himself is in doubt, he wants some help, meaning he wishes that they would come to him. Then God revealed by the star when it set, Surah Najm. Okay, Surah Najm, you'll find it towards the end of the Quran, in Juz 27. By the star when it sets, your comrade does not err, nor is he deceived, nor does he speak out of his own desire. And there are many verses. That's how it starts. there are many verses, and then he reaches the verses when he came to the words, have you thought upon Al-Lat and Uzza? Have you thought upon Lat and Al-Uzza and Al-Manat, the third, the other? So this is the verse. Satan cast on his tongue because of his inner debates. So what he was doubting himself, he had issues, he was wanting him to listen to him, to follow him, the Quraysh that is. And the words were put on his tongue. By who? By Satan. So look at the accusation. So when it talks about, have you looked upon Al-Lat and Al-Uzza and Al-Manat? He said, these are the high-flying cranes. Verily their intercession is accepted with approval. SubhanAllah. So, meaning what? Very simple. That the Prophet ﷺ, the muwahid, the one and only who was brought with tawheed, who was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى دِينِ كُلِّهِ, to supersede all the other ways, religions, lives, that he committed shirk. And if that is there, right, they say that this is it. This is what we need to disprove Islam based on. And there's so much that's been written, and so many debates and articles and discussions and so on. The reliability, is this authentic and not? And some people said, believe it or not, that yes, there's authenticity to this, and there's no problem because the Prophet ﷺ corrected himself after and so on. But let us continue to read so we understand. To continue, it says that the polytheists were delighted that Muhammad ﷺ had last approved their God. So the polytheists, the Quraysh, are happy that finally, the Prophet ﷺ approved the Lat and Al-Uzza and Al-Manat. He said they're high cranes and their intercession is hoped for and accepted. To return the kindness, they prostrated themselves because of the reference to their gods which they have heard, so that there was no one in the mosque, believer or unbeliever, who did not prostrate himself. It's on page 109. So what happens again? The Prophet ﷺ said that Al-Lat, Al-Uzza, Manat, they're okay, their intercession is acceptable, so he committed shirk supposedly, wa'iyadu billah. And then the polytheists, the Quraysh, they're happy. Both Muslim and Quraysh are making prostration. Few things to remember here. Number one, that both Muslims and non-Muslims prostrate. Why do they prostrate? Well, the argument says, because to return the kindness, they prostrated themselves. Okay, to return the kindness that Muhammad ﷺ, he made their gods to be intercessors. And then supposedly the believers also prostrated. But why? Are they returning kindness? No. Keep in mind, because it's important. Then they continue saying, Muhammad's friendly relations with the polytheists were short-lived. However, for he soon learned that his verses praising pagan idols came not from God, but from Satan. So you see, this is their argument. This is the website argument, the missionary. So, let's continue. Saddened to recognize his treachery against Allah, Muhammad lamented, I have fabricated things against God and have imputed to him words which he has not spoken. It's on page 111 from At-Tabari. Of course, they take parts of it. And that's again what I told you from the beginning of our episodes, how these people work. They're making their argument. They're picking and choosing little parts, putting the puzzle together and selling it to you. And you won't even dare to go to the authentic text and check it. A lot of you might not. I guarantee it. Yet Gabriel comforted Muhammad, informing him that all prophets fall for Satan's trick from time to time. This staggering and unbelievable claim even found its way up in the Quran, they say. And we did not send before you any messenger or prophet, but when he desired, then Satan made a suggestion respecting his desire, but Allah annuls that which Satan casts. Then does Allah establish his communications? And Allah is knowing why. Surah 22, verse 52. So you see how they connected now. They connected things from At-Tabari, from Surah Najm, and from Surah 22, put them together, package it, and it's a very good argument right there. And now, so many people fell for it. There's many people, you ask them, why did you leave Islam? They say, because of this. See what happened? Oh, come on, how can I believe it's shirk? Supposedly. See, this is just a made-up thing. All right, now, let us put on our thinking caps. and go back to a few things. Let's go backwards. Number one, they are talking about this story as if they believe in one thing and reject another thing. I'm going to have to stop right now because the time is up. It's so important. So I hope that you are pumped up. I hope that this will give you enough edge, inshallah, to follow up with the next episode, because this is where we will, inshallah, refute this horrible misconception, this horrible lie, in very simple terms. This is Gabriel Al Romaani, Defense Against Disaster. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.